We are being joined by Nebraska head coach Fred Hoiberg, along with seniors Keisei Tominaga, who had 21 points, including 5 three-pointers tonight, and Josiah Allick, double-double, 14 points, 11 rebounds. We will start with an opening statement from Coach Hoiberg and then open it up to questions for student athletes. Coach?
Yeah, well, first of all, congrats to Texas A&M. That team's playing as well as anybody in the country right now with the way they're shooting the ball. It's a very tough matchup with the way they drive it, and when they're hitting shots, it's a very tough team to beat. Thought we got off to a great start. I was really pleased with how we came out with energy. We were shooting the ball well, and unfortunately, we just traded baskets. And Keisei got us off to a great start. Josiah was all over the place on the glass, flying in there. I'm really proud of these two guys for everything that they accomplished this year. But at the end of the day, it was a very tough matchup. As far as the thing I want to focus on is the positives of this season. We accomplished a lot of things for the first time in the history of the program. Had the second most wins in the history of the program. And, these guys had such a professional mindset with everything they did, stuck to the core values that we put in place early in the process. And, this is going to go down as one of my all-time favorite teams that I've ever coached. And, I love each and every one of these guys. The thing that just stings more than anything is I'm not going to have a chance to coach these two guys again. And I won't have a chance to coach this group as a whole again, and that hurts. That really, really hurts. And, for what these guys did, I'm going to be here for them for the rest of their lives, for what they helped us accomplish this year, and again, went down as one of my all-time favorite groups. So, I'm proud of these guys for going out on a really high note with what they accomplished this season. There's a lot of really sad faces in that locker room right now, a lot of tears after that game. But I told them, each and every one, you need to walk out of here tonight with your head held high for what you helped this program accomplish. And when we do get that NCAA tournament win, these guys are going to get a lot of credit for that, for really laying the foundation for what this thing needs to look like. And, they did a lot of great things, and I'm really, really happy that I had the opportunity to coach these two guys.
Questions for the student athletes. If you raise your hand, we will get a microphone to you. Have one down front. Just start with your name and your affiliation and the student athlete you're directing your question to, and be to our left to start things out.
Wilson Moore, Omaha World Herald. Keisei and Joe, I know it's probably raw right now, but just what are the emotions you're feeling right now?
Let Keisei start.
Yeah, of course it's sad to lose, but it's also sad to I can pray for the coach Hoiberg anymore, pray for pray with my teammate anymore. That's that's the most sad thing right now.
Yeah, for me, just at the moment, it's just a lot of frustration. Just with myself and just how we came out and laid an egg tonight. Obviously, my heart goes out to Husker Nation. They have been supporting this team for decades now. And, they came out and, they made this a home environment. And, we didn't get the job done. Me especially, I just, I think I had like 3 or 4 missed layups, like just little bunnies. That's 8 points right there. They could have been, closing the gap, making us a game down the stretch, closing that, going into halftime, giving us some kind of momentum. Plenty of rebounds that, I just wasn't involved with that, obviously they do a great job offensive rebounding, and I didn't do enough on my part to just help out, even if I wasn't directly involved. I know how badly everybody not only wanted to be in this position, but to make a run in March. And just a lot of frustration right now.
Other questions for the student athletes? We have on the aisle here.
Brian Christopherson with Husker 24/7. Obviously, they hit a lot of shots from deep, but what made them so hard to defend, in particular, Josiah?
I mean, as you saw, I mean, they just kept going to that horn stagger play, basically the entire second half, and we're just kind of picking us apart, either driving us one-on-one, or when we sent the help, they were kicking out, and obviously shot like 56% from three tonight. And so when a team has as just physically imposing just ball handlers and attack and slashers like that, that are also shooting it at a high clip, it's a hard train to stop, and we let them kind of get going in that first half, and so they came into that second one feeling comfortable, and even though we were making plays, they were responding every single time, and so it was just kind of too little, too late once we kind of found our groove in the second half.
Excuse me, stay in the same spot.
Joseph Meyer, Daily Nebraskan. Josiah, how do you reflect on your decision to come back home for one more year? Now looking back at it, obviously you'll have time in the future, but in this moment, what kind of will you take away from this season that you had it back home?
Man, I mean, I just know how much this team means to the city and to the state, and to all the Huskers outside of the state lines, and I just knew the opportunity that was here, and the type of team and staff, and just kind of momentum they had from the previous year, and I just I wanted to be a part of that team that kind of gave something back to this community, and I love I don't regret my decision for a second. Obviously I'm frustrated as hell that I didn't do enough to get that done, but I've loved every second of being back home, and getting to really get a deeper understanding of this community, and just the support that's here, just how special Husker Nation is.
Anything else for the student athletes before we let those guys head back to the locker room? Gentlemen, thank you. Appreciate your time. If you raise your hand, we'll get a mic as we open the floor for questions for Coach Hoiberg, and we'll start to our right. Coach.
Hey, Coach, Terry Davis, Tri-State Defender. I know you mentioned how these guys were a foundation for this season, but how can this season be a foundation for future seasons going forward?
Well, honestly, I think last season was really the one that set the tone for this year with with Griesel, with Bandamel. I really thought they helped flip the culture for where it needed to be, and I do think that helped us get Josiah. It helped us get Bryce. It helped us get Rink, and getting back to this point for the first time in a decade, it's where we want to be. But now we've experienced it. Okay, the team we played tonight experienced it last year and lost in the first round. So they had experience from being in this tournament, and it's different. All the hype that goes into this time of year, and for us now, we hope to have a good core coming back to our team next season, and obviously we need to add. We need to get more players like we've built our roster the last couple of years that our fan base can be proud of every time they step on the floor. And I'm confident we'll do that. And it's there, and there's no reason this team can't have sustained success. This can't be another decade before Nebraska gets back in the NCAA tournament. We need to be there again next year. This is the fun time of year. It's really the only fun time of year. And now that we've experienced it, the guys that'll be back, I think, hopefully will handle it the right way. Not that we didn't this year. I mean, we ran into a buzzsaw tonight. There's no doubt about it. That team is hot. They are white hot right now with the way they're shooting the ball. Their only loss in the last 7 is to Florida, and I think they're up 22 in that game. So that team, I mean, they put you in a hell of a tough bind early in the year when they weren't shooting it well. When you look at their numbers, being in the mid-300s in three-point shooting, that hasn't been the case the last month of the season, and that's why they've won 6 of 7 with the one loss, maybe playing as well as they had all year for the first half. So, it's something where we can look back on this hopefully when we do get over the hump and say that these last 2 years have really helped us build the program the way that it needs to be built. And, we're going to get back here and like I said, hopefully get us to the point where we're winning games at this time of year next season.
Coach, the next two are directly in front of you.
Drew Hill, Daily Memphian. I'm not sure a lot of people in this city were familiar with the level of support for Nebraska basketball. What did you make of the turnout from the fan base?
It was PBA South out there. It was unbelievable. Walking out there and just hearing the support, and Keisei hit a couple of shots early, just, it was going crazy out there. So, and I agree with Josiah. That's what really stings about this is, they would have kept coming, and, they would have been back here Sunday. I think more people would have come down and supported us. So, we are so appreciative, and it would have been great to share that special moment with them. And again, I do think really appreciated this group, and I think that's why they did come out in full force and with huge numbers. Anytime our bus drove with the police escort, it was lined with Husker fans, and it was fun. It was fun to see. We've had it all year. Am I surprised? No, because that's what it's been like. And you see it all across the board in every sport. Husker fans travel and they want to see winners, and I'm confident that we're going to be here and we're going to continue on with this. And like I said, hopefully next year we get a win and go on a run and keep them coming.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Amy Just, Lincoln Journal-Star. Apologies if you touched on this in your opening statement, but just what has Keisei meant to you the last 3 years, Josiah this past year, and just what did the end of the game tonight mean to you, just seeing their emotion as they were walking off the floor?
Yeah, those guys have meant everything to me. And, what Keisei, to see his growth over the last 3 years from when he came in, very raw, didn't know the language very well, and to see him become a vocal leader for our team. And you see what he does on the court. I mean, his play speaks for itself. But, what he has done from a leadership standpoint to how he has ingrained himself in the community, he's one of the most popular players, not only in Nebraska, but in the country. And you see people from all different fan bases just enamored by him. And, I guess, when you're 6'1" and you're not very athletic, you're kind of seen as that underdog, and people root for the underdog. So, I just love the kid. I told him in a locker room, he now gets to go represent his country in the Olympic Games. How cool is that for Keisei now, to move on to the next phase of his career? That's where it starts. And then, hopefully get an opportunity with the way he shoots and the way he puts the ball in the basket to play in these types of arenas for a long time. He's just got that skill set that is so unique, especially with analytics the way they are right now. Josiah is another guy that has an unbelievable future in front of him. I told him this in the locker room. Kevin McHale said, that kid's a pro. He can play. He can play at any level. The way he plays, he has a unique game to where it translates, because there's a role for a guy like that kid. And, he just, for what he did from a leadership standpoint, holding everybody accountable, setting the tone every day in practice, just overjoyed that he came back and helped us accomplish a lot of really special things this season.
The last one is on the aisle.
Joseph Meyer, Daily Nebraskan. For Keisei and Josiah, they both brought so much energy this season, and you're going to lose that, obviously. Going into next season, how do you replace that and that energy? And is that even something you can replace, given how special those two players were to you?
Well, I had worries that we wouldn't be able to replace Derek Walker, Emmanuel Bandamel, and Sam Griesel. And, I thought we did a really good job of identifying the right guys that could help us get back and even take the next step. And that's what we talked about with our team from the very first day, take the next step. Going into next year, take the next step. Now it's time to win at this time of year. And those guys helped in a huge way. But they are. I mean, those guys are infectious. They bring it every day. But we got a team full of those guys. So, we're going to miss those guys a ton. We're going to miss them every day. But we'll get some good ones in here. And, that starts, portal's open. I mean, this thing starts now. And, you used to be able to breathe a little bit when this thing ended. You don't need to do that anymore. So it's right back to work. I mean, you're already making calls and doing that type of thing. I mean, we're going to meet with all of our players individually over the next couple days and, figure out how to best construct the roster to help us get over this hump.
Coach, we look forward to watching the trajectory you guys have the program on. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.